So I'm just going to go through a basic wing assembly today. Go through the parts, show you how it goes together. Pretty simple, repeatable. You can buy replacement parts for all of the wings here at Toigo. We have two different side panel options. Our standard side panel options, that piece is 13 by 39 on the small panel side of the wing. The large panel side of our standard wing is 17 and a quarter by 39 as well. And that'll be the standard wing. That wing is 275. We offer oversized side panels as well. The size of those, 15 by 40 on what would be the short side of the wing. And the large panel dimension would be 21 by 40 in the case of the large one. So those are the side panel option for the wing. I think the large panel one is 325 if you want to upgrade to the larger panels of the wing. Then you receive rivets for the entire wing. These are exploding rivets. They snap down ultra tight. They're better than the ones that the regular rivets that you typically buy at the hardware store. Also comes with the rear brace for the wing, the front brace that goes in the bullnose of the wing here, and then it comes with the angle braces for the wing. So it comes with 3 long ones for the top of the wing, comes with a short one for the front of the wing, and a medium one for the back of the wing on the bottom as well. So the first step in assembling the wing is getting the center panel. The center panel, just so you can know the dimensions of that as well, are from side to side. Center panel is going to be 32 inches. From front to rear without assembly, it is 35 inches from the rear to the front of the bullnose on the wing. The first thing we like to do when assembling the wing is turn the wing over, the center panel over, and grab the 2 pieces that are the braces that go in the bullnose, and the brace that goes on the rear of the wing back here. They only go on one direction. So you really, it's almost impossible to mess this up because all of the holes are pre-punched. So all of the holes will line up. So you just keep turning it until the holes essentially line up for both the rear piece, this right here, lines up just like that, and the front bullnose support here. It just slides inside the bullnose there, and the holes line up perfectly as well. So once I get those lined up, set it on there, grab the rivets, and I like to just go through and insert all of the rivets into the holes so that when I grab the rivet gun, I can just go right through and rivet all of it at one time. I'll show you a couple tricks here. I guess I don't know if they're really tricks or not, but if you do it this way, there's a couple holes that you don't want to fill with rivets because they'll be necessary for when we get to putting the side panels on. So now I have all the rivets lined up in the front of the bullnose. Next, I'm going to do the rivets on the rear. However, I'm not putting them in right now because I want the rivet head to be on top of the wing just so that it has a better appearance. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to do all of the rivets on this bullnose. So now all of those rivets are done. And we're going to turn the wing over. Turn the panel over this way. And we can go through and put all the rivets along the bullnose now on this side. Then what we want to do is this panel, like I said before, so we don't have to look at the rivet, the bottom of the rivet. We're going to rivet it from this side so that it gives it a better appearance and we can just see the top of the rivet. So I'll go through and start that as well. I like to just do one on each end to get it started so that it'll hold itself while I go through and plant all the rivets in the wing. So I can just go through and do them all at once like I did on that last round for the bottom of the bullnose. So now I have both pieces held in, and I can show that front of the bullnose, bottom of the bullnose is in. I put 2 rivets in the back support piece. You can see the heads look really nice when you do it that way. Otherwise, you would have the exploded part on top, which we don't really want. It's also the wrap guys don't really like that either. So what I'm going to do is set it back down. So now the top of the wing is up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and plant all of the rivets in their hole, make sure they line up, obviously, with the bullnose down here as well. And I'm going to do the same thing on the rear there. So now I have all the rivets planted, I guess, on top of the wing. You'll notice that there are some holes that don't have rivets in them. These holes, when they're grouped together like that, those holes are meant for the angle braces that go in the wing. So you'll notice that 1, 2, 3 sections here. Not going to do those rivets. And then also back here, you'll notice 2 holes as well. Not going to do those rivets either. We'll need those holes for the angle braces later on. So I'm going to go through, and when I'm doing this, you'll notice that the bullnose in the front, it'll hang down a little bit. Here, there'll be a little bit of a gap. I just hold up on the bullnose while I'm doing the rivet, and it'll suck it right up flush. And if you do one on each end and one in the middle, you won't have to do this all the way throughout the whole thing. You won't have to hold it because it's going to go along and do the rivet. So I kind of do a nice little squeeze on each end and then one in the middle. And then I can kind of just zip through doing all these rivets. I'm sure you're probably asking yourself, where did this rivet going to come from? We've determined that it came from heaven because it is the greatest thing that we've ever found. It's just a Milwaukee rivet gun. If you want to go get yourself one, they're worth every penny if you put in a lot of rivets. Go to the back. There's these rivets. Don't get your finger caught under one of those exploding rivets. You won't be very happy. There. Now both of the rear and front pieces are in. So now we have the rivets in the top and in the bottom of the wing. Done correctly. Everything's good. What we're going to do next is we're going to put the side panels on. Side panels go on the same no matter if you chose the large side panels or just our standard side panels. I'm going to do the standard today just because it goes on the same way. So this is often where people sometimes maybe get a little bit messed up. The way that I look at it is I look at it from the back of the car. So if I'm standing behind the car, the large panel always goes on the left side. The small panel always goes on the right side. So large panel over here, small panel over here. So we're going to start, if that's true, then what we're going to do is we're going to roll it down this way. We're going to start with the large panel. So I'm going to grab the large panel. In this case, it's this one. What we're going to do is there's holes along the side of the center section of the wing. And then there's holes along the side panel as well, all pre-punched. All the wings are exactly the same. Now, what we have to think about is what direction is it? Does it go like this? Or does it go like this? Well, the large side panel always has the majority of the sheet metal on the side panel towards the top of the wing. So what we're going to do is I like to set the wing on its side right here, the center section. I like to set the large section on top of it. And then I try to find the first hole. Where is the first hole at? And when I find that, I will stick a rivet in it and I will rivet that down to hold the whole piece together. So, right there, like that. Gonna then grab the rivet gun. Rivet that one in. And then, I'm gonna go to the rear of the car. I'm gonna find this hole. So this hole has to go through a couple pieces of sheet metal. After I rivet this in, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now it can hold itself because I have both ends done. So if we're standing the back of the wing like this, you'll notice that the majority of the sheet metal is at the top of the wing. What I was talking about on the rear is there's a little tab on this back brace. That's the other piece of sheet metal has to go to. So there's 3 pieces of sheet metal this rivet actually has to go through on the back piece of that. So the easiest thing, now that you have that, it's pretty easy to finish off this part of the wing. All we have to do, set it here like this, is go in and plant the rest of the rivets along that wing edge. And then rivet it down. I'm going to repeat this process on the other side as well. So now I've riveted all the way down the large side panel. See all the exploding rivets inside there. Everything's lined up, works great. Makes it really easy now to do the other side because you have sort of a solid base to set it down on. And an easy way to know what direction to put this other panel in is the way that the sheet metal is rolled for each of the side panels, they go the same direction. So what I mean by that is if it's rolled to the right, it's going to, this side is also going to be rolled to the right. So you'll see that right here. The sheet metal is rolled towards me. This piece, also the sheet metal has to be rolled towards me in the same direction. So now all I need to do is the same thing I did on the last one. I want to grab a couple rivets and do one rivet on the front and one rivet on the back before I go about doing the center sections. So I'll get this set in here. Check my alignments. Now I'll go to the rear of the wing. Remember, once again, on this side, we have to go through 3 pieces of sheet metal. We have to go through the top, we have to go through the side panel, we have to go through the top of the wing, and we have to go through that little bracket on the brace on the rear of it. So now the hole itself, I can go through and plant the rest of these rivets and tighten those up, and then we'll be on to the angle braces. All right, so ran the rivets in the small side panel all the way down. Looks good. Now, if you look at the front of the wing, see both sides are rolled the same direction. Left side of the wing, left side is always the large panel, right side is always the small panel. The large amount of sheet metal on the left side is exposed at the top, large amount of sheet metal on the right side is exposed on the bottom. So next, we're going to go about and do the angle braces. So turn around this way so you can see. There are 5 angle braces that come with this wing. There's 3 for the top. They're all the same length, have a little bit different of a break in the aluminum, but each one goes in right here. One goes here. You can see that. One goes here. One goes in the middle. One goes in the front. Each hole is punched. All you have to do is line up the rivets and put them in. These are all through the same way. The last 2 go on the bottom side of the right side of the wing. We'll get to that after we do these. So I'll show you one of these, and then I'll go ahead and put the other ones in. What you need to think about when you're doing this is, where do you want the head of the rivet exposed? Usually, the outside is where I want the head of the rivet. And so on the top of the wing, I'm going to do the rivet from the top here down. There's 2 rivets that go in each of these support braces. So I'm going to go ahead and do those. And then I like to do the other 2 rivets from the outside of the wing so that they match the rivet heads on the outside of the wing over here. So I'll line those up. And those in. I like to get both of them in before I tighten them down, just to make it that much easier and to prevent binding. So now I have that first angle brace in on the top of the wing. Let's see how that goes there. Top of the wing. I'm going to go through and put the rest of those angle braces in now. So now you can see I have the 3 braces in the wing. That's how those go. Not much to it. Those are pretty easy. Some guys leave out the center brace. So that's up to you. You can make that decision on your own if you feel that it's necessary for what you're doing in your race program. So then we're going to go through and put the braces on the bottom of the wing for the short side panel. So there's 2 braces for this side. There's what we would call the medium-sized brace and the short brace. The short brace goes here. See if we can stand up. It's going to fall. And then the medium brace goes back here. Each of these takes 3 rivets. So once again, I'm just going to go through and plant the rivets. I like to do that ahead of time just to make it easier. Line that up, make sure it lines up. And then once again, doing this rivet from the outside so I have nice appearance. Rivet through. One more rivet for this one. And that brace is done. Next, I'm going to do the rear brace and the wing will be done. So now I've done the front brace on the bottom and I'm going to finish off the back brace on the bottom, the medium brace. I've already riveted it on the side from the outside in for appearances. I'm now going to rivet this brace from the top down just for appearances once again, just to make it look good when it's on the car, so that I'm not seeing all of those exploded side of the rivet when it's on the car. So now you can see the wing is finished. Finished products right here. Have our side panels on. Have our cross braces on. They're also on the bottom as well. See right here, front one, rear one. We have a brace here. We have a brace in the back. That's a finished wing.